So, in continuation with the previous lecture, now in the next part, what I will talk about is the very primitive theory. Okay, and it is primitive, but at the same time, it is important also because initially there was no idea. Sorry, excuse me. There was no idea about the atoms. Okay, atoms, molecules. Okay, then compounds, and they only have few chemicals, and they have the observation that this is the nature, this is the color of this chemical, it behaves in this medium like this way, in the another medium in this way. Okay, so they didn't have that time an idea of the atoms, the molecules. Okay, and specifically what a matter or the element is consist of. Hmm? Okay, so the one person that time, he was, I would say, he was a visionary. Although many people don't like him, but if we think in his perspective, okay, I'm talking about almost 17th century or 16th century, that 1600th century that time. If we think in his perspective, yes, whatever he apparatus or whatever theory he suggested, yes, from today on, it's not true. But at that time, you have to believe that. And the research came up after that, and that research shows that you are basically telling that his theory was a false, his statements was a false statement. But one thing I want to tell you guys, okay, because why I'm telling you this, because people make many funny things, okay, using this chemical, this laws of chemistry, the theories of atomic structure. People make many funny things, and those are very bad, I would say, because they made those assumptions and they gave the explanations. At that time, it was seen logical, but now, see, due to the advancement of equipment, the advancement of things, people thought that you is basically nullifying that logic. You're telling that, okay, what you have said, it is not true. This is a new thing. But I want to tell you that if that wasn't there, that theory wasn't there, the new theory would never come up. Okay, this is research, this is science. Whatever I say today, okay, whatever paper I publish during my research or you publish during your research, it may be come up that after 50 years or 60 years or 100 years, that people will say there is a more advancement of your research, and whatever you have found, it is not correct. It's partially correct or it's not correct, right? So this is known as the research, and this is where the science exists. Okay, and see, if anyone says that what I'm saying is true, okay, it cannot be because you're doing science, right? You have said few statements, and that statement, if someone after few years or that time, whatever, okay, when the technology develops, everything develops, you justify those statements and you make the more advanced version of those statements. That is called research. So if anyone makes these kinds of funny videos, okay, where I don't want to mention the names, those are very bad things. Okay, please don't follow them. Because when you are doing serious science, don't think in that perspective. Otherwise, you will be never able to do science. Okay. Now, continuing to our chapter. So, what I will tell today is the fundamental thing. Okay. When people were thinking about atoms, the molecules, okay, that time, the structure, and specifically the what is the fundamental part of an element. Okay, that time there was one person, one of my favorite scientist list, John Dalton. Okay, and he said, Dalton. Okay, you have learned this thing in class 10 also. Dalton, what he said, he gave postulates. Okay, he gave postulates. Acha, what is postulate? Postulates are a series of statements, okay, without any verification by experiment. Okay, acha. So what he said that an element, okay, an element or a matter consists of atoms, okay, consists of atoms which are very tiny particles, okay, which are very tiny particles, okay, and that elements and those are termed as atoms and tiny particles of matter, matter, okay. Acha. Number two, the atoms are indivisible. Atoms are indivisible means that means they cannot be divided, they cannot be broken, okay, into different parts, okay, and by physically or chemically, okay, indivisible. Number two, the atom of the same element are identical in all respects, okay, that is mass, size, and the properties. Means for a particular element, your atoms are identical, identical by mass, okay, by properties, okay, mass properties. For a particular element, the atoms are identical, okay, and the atoms are different for the atoms of different elements are not identical in on, okay. Atoms are atoms are different elements. Atoms for different elements. Atoms for different elements are not identical in all respect. Okay. Number four. Okay. The atoms are neither be created nor destroyed. Atoms are neither created nor destroyed. Not destroyed. Number five. One, two, three, four, five, six. Number six. The atoms take part in the chemical reaction because that time chemical idea of the chemical reaction was already present. So what he said is that atom in a chemical reaction, they combine in a chemical reaction combine, okay, and they combine with a simple ratio. The atom combine in reaction by simple ratio of, let's say, 1 is to 1, 1 is to 2, 2 is to 3, like simple ratios. Okay, and these ratios later on, what we will know, these ratios are known as the balances. Okay, now, so if someone asks you what is the definition of atom, what you will say? The smallest indivisible, indestructible, and discrete particle of an element which retains all the physical and chemical properties, which retains all the physical and chemical properties of the element and takes part in the chemical reaction, and in the most cases has no free existence, are called atom. I am repeating once again. The smallest part, the smallest indivisible, indestructible, indivisible, the smallest part, tiny part of man, and indivisible, okay, indivisible, indestructible, indestructible, okay, and the discrete particle of the element which retains all the physical and chemical properties of the element and takes part in the chemical reaction, that takes part in the chemical reaction and in the free they have no free existence. Okay. Okay, so this was the first concept of atom came from the Dalton's atomic theory. Now we know this theory has huge number of limitations. Let's look at one by one. First, atoms are very tiny particles of the matter. Yes, it is a tiny particle, but he didn't say one thing, that it is the smallest part of the element or it is the smallest part of particle of the compound. He didn't say that because compound was also there, right? It is the smallest part of an element or it is the smallest part of any compound. Okay, that is a controversial. That question arises, and next is arise that is it the next question is also arise that is it the atom, so is it so in that case, okay, let me rephrase it again. So this atom is the smallest part of the element or is the smallest part of the compound. But if that was that case, then the question arises, ultimate question arises, then what is the ultimate smallest particle? What is the ultimate smallest particle of a matter? Okay, and later on this confusion was removed by the concept when the concept of molecules came up and which was given by Avogadro. I will discuss later. Okay, number two. Okay, number two, what he said, Dalton said, is that the atoms is indivisible, which is a wrong. Definitely, this is a wrong. Atoms are indivisible. Okay, but it has seen that the atoms are can be you are divided into electrons, protons, and neutron and other subatomic particles. Okay. Next, last one. The elements, the atoms are identical. For same element, the atoms are identical. This is wrong. Why wrong? Because we know that for a particular element, the isotopes exist, and the isotopes they differ in the mass number, right? The masses are different. So for the isotopes, this statement is not valid. So these all from your Dalton's atomic theory, and this is a very simple theory, and you can get in anywhere you will get this one, and just a basic things. They will not may not in the exam they will ask you about the Dalton's atomic theory, but they can ask about the limitations and they can ask about the some points or which one is according to the Dalton theory is wrong, right, wrong. That's that kind of questions. Okay, so just go revise them and just simple go through. Okay, it's very simple thing. Acha. Now, when this Dalton theory came, the lots of limitations also came up. Hmm. But this is very important because until and unless you give a theory or a postulate something, okay, you cannot refrain it. You will not do the research on that part. Okay. So later on, the advancement of this came given by the Avogadro. Okay, Avogadro. Okay, now it has been Avogadro's law, but I will write hypothesis. Okay, I will write hypothesis here because this was the first term which was given by that time. Okay, so what is the Avogadro hypothesis? Avogadro's hypothesis, he said that if I have two beakers here, okay, if I have two beakers here, okay, in this case here, let's say I have V volume of hydrogen, okay, and here also I have V volume of carbon dioxide. If I have this, under same temperature and pressure, means under same physiological condition, uh, same physical condition, okay, same physical condition or condition, or I would write the let's write the statement here, under same temperature and pressure, same temperature and pressure, the equal volume, the equal volume of all gases will consist of same number of molecules. So, under same temperature and pressure, the equal volume of all gases, it can mean elements, it can be compounds or others, okay? That they have com- consist of same number of molecules. Now, in this case, if this was the number of molecules n, so in this case also your number of molecules will be also n. And I would say since Avogadro gave beautifully, I just write this name Na. The number suggested by the Avogadro. Now, what is this number? This number, let me write you this number is 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 per mole. Per mole. If you have a 1 mole of substance, your number of molecules is 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. Okay. Now, if I think about a reaction, this formation, let's say H hydrogen plus Cl2, they are forming HCl gas. Okay. So here, so hydrogen molecule and chlorine molecule and HCl, right? So this is 2HCl. So from here, what I can see, one volume of hydrogen combining with one volume of the chlorine and forming two volume of HCl gas. This is the concept. One volume of hydrogen is equal combining with one volume of chlorine, so giving two volume of HCl, right? That means if I write here, if I do n volume of hydrogen, n volume of Cl2 will give me 2n volume of HCl, right? 2n volume of HCl, right? That means, so if I, so n volume of hydrogen will combine with n volume of chlorine will give you my 2n volume of HCl. Okay. So now the one molecule, if I go to the one molecule, okay, or now this V is equivalent to Na, number of molecules. So I would say here the n molecules, n molecules of hydrogen is combined with n molecules of chlorine will give you 2n molecules of HCl. Right? Now if I divide with, so half dividing with 2n, half molecule of H hydrogen combined with half molecules of Cl2, then they will form one molecule of HCl. So to make one molecule of HCl, you require half molecules of chlorine and half molecules of hydrogen. So this is the concept which Avogadro suggested. Okay, later on in your gaseous state chapter, you will learn more about this Avogadro hypothesis and you will find this Avogadro as a law. Okay, Avogadro hypothesis you will learn more and that you will apply in different numerical problems in that system. So till now, your what we have discussed so far, we discussed the concept of equivalent weight, law of different forms of combinations, okay, the Dalton's atomic theory, the Avogadro hypothesis. So now few things, little things are left, like few concepts are there, mole concepts are there, few. Okay, so by combining this, I will, and maybe one or two lectures, maybe video lectures, will combine this chapter and the rest, the numerical experiments I will send, and this will, now next after that we will directly start atomic structure. Okay, and whatever part, if you feel that whatever part is left in this chapter, few things you feel when you will go through the book, you might feel, don't you have to worry about, because those things later on when we will discuss different chapters in class 11 different chapters, it all will be covered. Okay, because all are related, so I will not waste time by telling you this now, things these things. Okay, then because then later on I have to tell you again. Okay, so next when we will discuss one by one chapters, then you will find this. Okay, and another thing, there is another concept here which will be also included in this lecture, is that the concept of normality molarity. If you have a solution, and in that solution you are having solute solvent, so in that case, what is the normality, molarity? These things you will learn. And that is the one video which I will lecture I gave in class 12. Okay. So that video Sir Pritam sir will upload. So don't have to worry about it. So that you learn that concept of normality, molarity. Okay. So till then, see you next time.